Aloha. Welcome to the island of Hawaii, birthplace of King Kamehameha the Great. And at this point, I'd like to invite those who have joined us a little bit late to take your seats, come forward and take your seats. My name is Lipia Lim. I'm from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, which is on the island of Oahu. And again, I'd like to welcome you to this island and to this conference. I'm very honored, and it's my pleasure to serve as your local organization chair. And I thought I'll just spend just a few minutes just introducing you to Hawaiian. So we are in the island of Hawaii, birthplace of King Kamehameha the Great. Now there's a couple of Hawaiian concepts that I just want to briefly talk about. You've all heard about aloha, and aloha means love, compassion, mercy. I know it's used as a greeting, but in Hawaiian culture, they believe that words have mana, which is life force or power, kind of spiritual power. So although you kind of greet people with aloha and mahalo, mahalo is thank you, these are not just greetings. These are actually blessings. All right? So when you say aloha to somebody, you're really trying to bless the person. And one of the traditional greeting, which is often translated as good morning to you, is aloha kakahiaka kako. Now, one of my colleagues who is actually one of the descendants, if you've watched the movie Descendants, and he actually taught me this, that the aloha kakahiaka kako really should be translated in the subjunctive, which really means that, may you find love today. Okay, there's no concept of morning in the Hawaiian culture. It's actually just today. So again, when you say aloha, it's really, may you find love today. Okay, whatever that means for you. Okay. The other thing is they have a great sense of aina, which is the land, on the environment, the sense of place that Judith talked about. So again, you want to be respectful of all the elements around here, right? The ocean, the land, the mountains. And I'll talk a bit more about that. The other two terms that you might come across is makai, which is ocean side, and mauka, mountain sides. People use that when giving directions. Now, as Kumu has alluded, there's going to be a lot more Hawaiian culture tomorrow at the banquet. So please come to the banquet. Starts at 6. There will be some Hawaiian crafts and cultural activities at 6. And there will be a show in the middle of dinner. And I know some of you have emailed me about extra banquet tickets. Now, there's only one person who replied that they are not attending the banquet, and there's a ton of you who emailed me that you want tickets. So I think at this point, and we are closing the sale of tickets at the end of today. So it's probably a good idea if you really need a ticket to actually buy one by 5 p.m. today. Okay. Just one more thing. Next slide, please. We're hoping that you have a wonderful stay here, and some of the more practical aspects of aina, right? Island of Hawaii has 11 out of 13 world's climate zones. I have a map there. Right now, I know it's really humid and hot outside. We are all in shorts. I'm in shorts. But if you plan to travel around, right? Pack a sweater, pack a jacket or so, because as you can see, on top of Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, you have polar climate. And it does dip to freezing at night, and sometimes below. We do get winter storm warnings up there. Okay. So again, just be aware of what you're doing, what's happening. The other thing that we're having right now is high surf warning from the hurricanes. So again, one of the things that the ancient Hawaiians do is they never turn their back to the ocean, right? Because you never know when a rogue wave might just come and take you out. And we have plenty of those incidents. So again, be aware of your surroundings. The other issue is if you're getting into the water, make sure that the water is not murky. There are incidents of shark attacks, okay? Now the last thing, and this may be very practical, if you're renting a car and driving around, it's generally a good idea not to bring valuables. Generally a good idea to leave your car unlocked. And the reason for that is it's easier to deal with a stolen stereo system than to deal with a broken window. Okay, broken window, trust me, it's a big problem. Okay, so aloha, and I'm going to hand over to Mike now.
So I'd like to welcome you all to VLDB 2015. We'll talk more about that in just a second, but this is my favorite state, and I think you're getting a sense of why that is. Okay, so it all started 40 years ago. So we're here for VLDB. It's the 41st VLDB, and what that means is 40 years ago, we started this whole adventure. And so the citation is there. I just wanted to point out that I know at least 3 authors who had papers in the very first VLDB are here, Phil, Don Chamberlain, and Arisha Shani. So welcome. If there are others that are here, stop by afterwards. I would love to sort of know that. Just going to make this very quickly, just as we usually tell you who's here. So that's the breakdown of participants, rather than sort of taking you through those numbers, which we'll also make available on the web. The map, we have sort of the majority of participants are here from the US, but we have people, as always, kind of from everywhere. If you take a look at sort of where they're coming from, this sort of shows you the breakdown. The blue line is this year's attendees. So the majority are here from the US, but we have quite a number from around the world as usual. The red line is last year in China. And sort of see what happened is the top 2 flipped, right? So we had more Chinese participation, not sure why last year, so you can sort of get a sense. There are some that are just sort of constant, and so the South Korean contingent is here as usual. As you can see, their line is flat for the last 3 years. Italy, China, and Hawaii, we don't care, we're coming. So welcome. So anyway, you can get a sense from the slides, and we'll make these available of who's here from where. What I want to point out is that the way you put on a really good conference is you basically build a really good team and then just try to stay out of the way. Send them all email. So I believe in sort of big data email chaos in running conferences, as they will all tell you. Apologies to them for that. This is the organizing committee. I'm sort of going to talk about the non-technical side, and then Volker and Chen will talk about the technical side. So we've had, I'm the general chair, we've had Lip Yao Lim, who's been just amazing. And so if you get a chance, please make it a point to thank Lip Yao. He's been incredible as a local arrangements chair. The red that you'll see on this slide and the next slide are people who I think have not had sleep in the last 6 months, probably. And then we've had a number. Everyone did a wonderful job. So we had his treasury chair, Malu, program chairs, Chen and Volker. Paul Larson has been our VLDB liaison. Radha has been handling the website, and we've had 3 sponsorship chairs that helped to raise money that I'll talk about next. And you'll hear much more about the committee, sort of the rest of the committee, the technical side, in a couple of minutes. We've had also an amazing support team from the University of Hawaii Hilo Conference Center. Several of them have also not slept in about 6 months probably, but the entire team has been amazing. We also had academic volunteers from North Carolina State that are here today from Hawaii, and then also some volunteers that sort of got brought in sort of unsuspecting, having no idea what they were getting involved in, dealing with website issues and scheduling issues that helped us out. On the sponsorship side, so the conference is possible, and you can be here sort of without paying an incredible fortune, because we're very fortunate to have a lot of sponsors this year. We have platinum sponsors: Baidu, Couchbase, Huawei, Infosys, Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, Walmart Labs, Pivotal, all sponsored us at the platinum level. At the gold level, we have Facebook, Google, HP Vertica, HTC, MemSQL, Persistent, Rastaman, and Tableau. So we thank our sponsors at those levels. We have actually some additional sponsorship from them. Google sponsored the event last night that we all enjoyed, so we thank you, Google, for having sponsored last night's event. And Infosys is sponsoring the banquet tomorrow night. So again, we also want to thank Infosys very much for their additional support. So these 2 companies both sort of kicked in significantly over and above what they were offering sort of as normal sponsorship. So we really appreciate that. One quick apology. So if you look at this ad, try to print it on your eyes. When you open the paper book, pretend it's there. We dropped one advertisement in the shuffle at the end of the book. So Rastaman is one of our key sponsors, and their ad should have appeared. It will be in the PDF version that's persisted. And then we've had also a number of sponsors at the silver and bronze level, so IBM, Informatica, Intel, LG, MongoDB, and the Professor Ram Kumar Memorial Foundation all gave money at the silver level. And then bronze sponsors include Aerospike, Cisco, Dell, MITRE, TPC, and HP. And I just want to thank all of the sponsors and all the people on the non-technical side. We'll thank the technical side in a minute for their involvement in making this conference possible. All right, on to the technical details.
Aloha. Volk and I are the PC chairs for this year's VLDB, and Hawaii is also one of my favorite states. This is my second trip to Hawaii within 1 month. We are very proud to present a very good program on this beautiful island. And so next week, Volk and I are going to give a very brief overview of the technical program. And since this is the only time we have to talk about the technical program, we want to take the chance to look at all the people who have made tremendous contributions to this wonderful program. So this is an overview of our program. We have 33 research sessions, 7 industrial sessions, 3 demo sessions, 2 poster sessions, 6 tutorials, 4 keynote speeches, 2 panels, and 9 wonderful workshops. In addition, we also have Michael Strombrinker to give his Turing Award lecture on this afternoon. So the work cannot be possible without the huge contributions from all the people from our community. Here, we're going to go through some of the main contributors. We have 9 associate editors, including Felix Naumann, Jignesh Patel, Kevin Chan, Magda Palazinska, Yi Chen, Stefan Manigault, Shivnath Babu, Rina Kinula, and Fatima Ozkan. And these 9 associate editors, and in addition to the 190 plus reviewers, are the main contributors who do the heavy lifting to review more than 700 submissions and make those important decisions. In addition, we have Tyson Kandi and Daisy Wan as proceedings chairs. We have Anhai Dong, Prasan Roy, Gregor Herrick Broyd as industrial chairs, and we also have Alphonse Kepler as a demonstration chair. We have Jenny Dongan, Rachel Pottinger as PhD workshop chairs, and Norman Patton as the workshop chair, Tova Melo and Pierre Sinilat as tutorial chairs, and we have Joe Halliston as a panel chair. So let's give a round of applause for these people who made the contribution to our panel, the program. So in addition, following our previous tradition, we have assembled an ad hoc committee to choose the best people award. And this committee was chaired by Siham Amar Yahya, together with Bin Chin Oy, Walid Arif, and Patrick Wajaris. And the process is we give them some of the candidates, and they spend lots of time going through all the candidates, and then at the end, they picked 1 Best People Award and 1 runner-up award. So this year's VLDB Best People Award goes to Constructing an Interactive Natural Language Interface for Relational Databases by Fei Li and Jagadesh. It's from is from University of Michigan. At a high level, this paper is about how to utilize a relational database system to do a natural language processing. And I will not go through detail. If you're interested in this talk, it's going to be given at research session 7 this afternoon at 3:30. So in addition to this award, we also picked a runner-up award, and that award goes to Resource Bricolage for Parallel Database Systems by Jie-Xing Li, Jeff Norton, and Rima Nemi. They're from Wisconsin, Google, and Microsoft. This paper is talking about how you can manage the heterogeneity of machines in a clustering environment. And the talk is going to be given tomorrow afternoon at the research session 15 at 1:30. So if you love data mining, if you run one of your favorite data mining algorithms on these two papers, you can quickly realize one of the criteria the committee members have followed to select the best paper award is you should have one of the authors sharing the same last name as the PC chairs. So in the future, if you want to get a best paper award, think about it when you choose your co-authors. In addition to these two awards, we also assembled a best demo committee chaired by Alphonse and Kemper, together with 4 members. So these committee members are going to see all the demos, and based on the performance of the shows, they're going to pick the best demo award, and we're going to announce it on Thursday morning. So this one gives you an overview of our technical program. We have talks, and also we have posters. Posters, we have two days for posters, one today on Tuesday and one on Thursday. We have 33 research sessions. Each session is 1.5 hours, so you do the math. That means every paper has 18 minutes, which includes a 1-minute introduction, a 15-minute presentation, and a 2-minute Q&A. And those papers in sessions 1 to 12 will go to Tuesday's poster session, and the rest will go to the Thursday poster session. In addition, we have 7 industrial sessions. Each session also has 1.5 hours, so each paper has 30 minutes, including a 1-minute introduction, 25-minute presentation, and a 4-minute Q&A. So we have a pretty tight schedule, so please make sure to follow the schedule, to go there on time, to check your presentation is okay, so that we can finish all the papers on time. And those industrial papers will go to the Tuesday poster session. We also have some VLDB journal papers who will present the posters, and all of them will be presented at the poster session on Tuesday. So with that, I'm going to pass the presentation to Volker.
So with that, since this is VLDB, it's time for some data analytics. So we had, as a total, 710 submissions, out of which 151 were selected for this year's VLDB cycle. And as you, most of you know, not all of the papers that are submitted to a volume of PVLDB also get actually presented at this year's VLDB conference. So we actually had 12 papers where the acceptance came in after the cutoff date, which will then be presented next year in Delhi. And at the same time, we have 21 papers from Hangzhou from last year, from last year's cycle that were not presented in Hangzhou that are presented this year, which makes it a total of 160 papers in the research sessions. In addition, we have those 20 papers that are in those 7 industrial sessions, and we have 49 demos. And here you see the 20 came out of 68 submissions, and we have 49 out of 148, which is, if you look at the topics, this is a tech cloud that we created based on the abstracts of the papers. The left one is what would have happened if we had accepted all papers. The right one is just the accepted papers. And you see there is actually a huge amount of graph papers that we have in the conference. So this is one of the key findings, but you'll see the details. I don't want to spend too much time on that. There's more information in this tech cloud, as you can imagine, that you can find out. With acceptance rates, that's another interesting aspect, of course. We have 21% acceptance rate in the research track. The interesting thing, though, is a lot of papers, and many of you who have got papers accepted know that, were not accepted in the first round, but after revision, which tells us, that we really going more and more into this journal mode with revisions where quality improvement takes place. The revisions, there's a very good chance once you got a revision that it will be accepted. As you can see, it's 84.6%. To break this down now per month, this is a chart that shows you for every month the submissions as well as how they are broken down into acceptances, in rejections. Resubmission is a special kind of reject, actually. That's a reject without the 1-year embargo that will, however, not continue in the next year. So that just gives you that idea. And the last month is only revisions because, of course, in the last month there were no new submissions because those already are going to the Delhi conference. What's maybe also interesting, acceptance rates. So this is for the ones of you who really believe in data science and think which is maybe the month I should submit my paper to because I get a higher acceptance chance. So this is probably an important chart for many of you. So other interesting aspects are now which area should you work in? So which area has a higher acceptance rate than others? So remember, we have 21% acceptance rate in average. And you see some areas are a bit harder than others in that way to get your paper accepted. So actually the leader is, so if you're so information integration is probably a good choice. There you have an above average acceptance rate. And you could argue that, languages is a really bad area to work in because it's only 2.94%. But don't forget one thing, the best paper award was in languages. So you have lower chances, but you may get the best paper award. So then, where do the contributors come from? So this is just showing you your distributions of which country to move to. No. Essentially, you see this, the countries with the strongest submissions and then also with acceptances here. Also, to point this out, maybe on the left side here, we have the submissions, and the right side we have the accepts. So you see maybe some differences in the effectiveness of some countries. And one last thing that I want to point out for the sake of time, we are following a new concept this year in the workshops on Friday. And we have a special kind of workshop, which is kind of a hybrid of a workshop and a tutorial, which is called the Big Data Open Source Systems Workshop, where 8 open source systems that have been created with a lot of input and work from our community that are creating or gaining some traction right now are being presented, and you can learn more about those. This is very hands-on, so it's not your traditional workshop. It's really you bring your own laptop, you install the system, play with it. So come on Friday, try it out. It will be very interesting to see how this experiment works, to have this kind of a format for a workshop. With that, there is only one important thing to do, and that is to thank all of you who have been authors that have submitted papers to this conference, because the community lives of your contributions, lives of your research. And so I would like to actually thank all of you and all the other ones who have submitted papers, who created this lively community with this huge amount of high quality submissions that we have received, that we have evaluated, and that we will hear about in this conference. So thank you for all of that, and with that we can move to the next part of the program, which are our keynotes. Thank you.